Ago, MPs voted overwhelmingly to give people from EU countries living in this country the right to remain here even after we have left the EU. 245 votes to 2, but nearly all Conservative MPs abstained. So what's going on here? Is anyone really suggesting we might deport people who may have lived here for many years? Andy Burnham is the Labour MP who proposed the motion. He's on the line. So is Therese Coffey, a Conservative MP who supports Theresa May in her bid for the Tory leadership. Mr Burnham, what was the point of the vote?
The point of the vote, John, was to try and give some security to people who are worried about the future. There's 3 million EU nationals here, but these people are the mums and dads of British children. They work in our public services, they run our companies.
And no one suggested they should be deported, are they?
Well, Theresa May, I'm afraid, went onto the television last week and muddied the waters. She said that she couldn't secure their status until the status of British nationals living abroad had been negotiated with other EU countries. And I just think that's wrong. The government could clear this issue up straight away and say that nobody will be asked to leave. These people make an important contribution to our society, to our economy. We value them, they are welcome here, but they haven't done that. And this is another example of the chaos the country is in post-referendum, that the Tory party is just simply not clearing up.
Is it chaos, or is it just the rough and tumble of the inevitable negotiations? After all, if there is any possibility that British citizens who live abroad, just as other EU citizens live in this country, if there's any possibility that they might have to leave, we have to have something in our hand, don't we? A card that we might be able to play in the negotiations. That's all that she is saying, Theresa May is saying, isn't it?
But John, surely the government's first priority is to people living here, paying taxes here, people with families here, working in our public services, contributing to our economy. Let's secure their position. And actually, I would argue, by doing that, the government will build goodwill and trust with other EU countries, and that is more likely then to secure the position of British nationals living abroad. So yes, let's secure both, but I think the way you do that is just by clearing this issue up. And the Commons, the clear will of the House of Commons was to do that. If the Tories had whipped their vote against my motion, there would have been a widespread rebellion. So it's the clear will of the elected House. The government should get on and respect it.
All right. Therese Coffey, is she right? Is Mrs May right not to give that guarantee?
Well, Theresa May has been very clear. She wants the legal status of EU nationals in this country to be properly protected. But her first priority has to be to UK citizens and their rights, which are yet to be clarified. I believe that sorting this out at the same time is the best way of ensuring that people are properly protected.
Right, so in that case, why doesn't she say, we, this country, under my leadership, would guarantee the right of those EU citizens who, as Andy Burnham says, have British children, pay their taxes, do valuable jobs in this country. We will guarantee their rights. Now, what do you have to say about British citizens living in your countries? Why not do that?
Well, the discussions on leaving the European Union, the details of that, have not yet even started. So I think it is appropriate.
We'd make a start. That's the point, isn't it? You know, we'd kind of set the tone for the debate, as it were.
I think it's appropriate. We haven't even got our next Prime Minister elected yet, although, of course, I hope it will be Theresa May. I think it is the right approach to say this is an important issue that needs to be dealt with early on, but until we are sure about the rights of UK citizens, there is no point in having as making one particular agreement. I mean, let's be clear about this. EU nationals who are lawfully resident for 5 years are already automatically have the right to live in the UK. So some people, MPs, need to stop some of the scaremongering and assure those residents that will be the case. But this is a complex issue. It's not just about the right to live.
Well, it's a complex issue on one level, a very simple issue on another. I was talking to a doctor this week, a GP, who's been here for years and years. He's married to a Welsh woman. He's got kids. He is about as English, apart from a slight accent, as you would find, and he's desperately worried. He shouldn't have to be worried, should he?
Well, indeed, and that's why I think the message needs to be said again very clearly. EU nationals who've been lawfully resident here for 5 years already have the automatic right to live in the UK. This is really important, that the Prime Minister's first priority has to be to UK citizens. Their rights are not yet clarified. Sorting out the rights of people in this country and people in other EU countries, doing that at the same time is the best way to make sure that that we get the deal that is wanted on both sides.
And what's wrong with that argument?
Yeah,
go on.
Thanks, John. No, I think, what's wrong with that argument is that, in effect, it's to prioritise people who've chosen voluntarily to make their life elsewhere and live in a different country over and above people who are living here. That's what's wrong with that argument. And, do you know, by failing to give people security, it's continuing the potentially hostile climate where kids in the playground are being told that they're going to have to go home. It's just not right. I think this was a test of leadership for Theresa May in this post-referendum situation, and she's failed it. She hasn't given people the stability they are looking for, and potentially it's creating an unwelcoming climate in our communities. And in my view, that is the wrong thing for any Home Secretary to do.
In contrast, the Home Secretary has absolutely condemned the attacks on people. This is we are still part of the EU. People can still come to this country now, but her priority as British Prime Minister is to ensure that legal status is preserved, and the best time to sort that out is when both UK citizens' rights and EU citizens' rights are discussed together.
Very, very quick question I've made to each of you about your potential leaders. Andy Burnham, leadership rivals to Jeremy Corbyn. What should they be doing now?
Well, I've made my position on this very clear, John. I have said that the priority of the Labour Party now shouldn't be to descend into civil war. It should be to try and give the country some clarity and stability.
In other words, stick with Jeremy, you're saying?
And get after this government, because it's causing chaos for families, as I've just been saying.
All right, and Therese Coffey, you've seen the headline in the Mail, you know, about the Leadsom story, the Andrea Leadsom story, saying that, according to the Times headline, being a mother gives you the edge over Theresa May, because she doesn't, it gives her the edge over Theresa May because Theresa May doesn't have children and she does. What do you make of that?
Well, Andrea's a friend. I know she's not a malicious person. It seems that she's suggesting that's not what she meant to say.
Well, I've seen the transcript and we got the thing, and that is what she said. She didn't use the word edge, but she makes it very clear that
John, what I wanted to put across is that I don't think it matters whether somebody has children or not. The next Prime Minister, what matters is what they're going to do for every child in this country. I believe Theresa May has got the proven leadership. She's got the qualities. She could be Prime Minister tomorrow, and I hope people read the Telegraph interview, not just the Times headline.
Right, well, yes, a tangible stake, she says. Being a mum means you have a very real stake in the future of the country. That's what she says.
Well, as I say, Andrea, I've met her children. They're very pleasant children, but what matters is for the Prime Minister is not just their own children, but every child in this country.
OK, thanks both very much, Therese Coffey and Andy Burnham.